What'd you think?
Susie, that was wonderful.
It's getting better, isn't it, Ed?
And you had a great flying lead change.
Thank you. You know, this Palomino horse is fun to do all the ranch classes on.
And you've come a long way. As a matter of fact, training is so important with these horses.
It is, and practicing so that we all keep getting better and better.
And that's what's great about our show. As a matter of fact, in this episode, we have saddle fitting, thoughts about your horse, and way to break at the withers.
I can't even wait.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ed Adams.
And I'm Susie Arbo.
And welcome to Better Horses.
This week, we begin with our Kansas clinician, Kerry Kuhn, one of the brightest clinicians in the industry today. With over 30 years experience, Kerry is going to show us the benefits of breaking at the withers.
And Susie, we're riding back down to Texas, to the Josey Ranch, as legendary Martha Josey and her team demonstrate the proper way to saddle fit your horse.
Working our way back to Oklahoma, world-class trainer Phil Haugen will explain the horse's thought process. It's a simple, common-sense approach that emphasizes trust and understanding between the horse and rider.
And finally, we're going to wrap it up with another Hearty grub, as Chef Mark Bergdahl and Ernie Rodina cook us something up pretty special. So stay with us as we spend the next 30 minutes learning and training all about horses. And it's the only horse show on your local broadcast television station.
And also airing on the Cowboy Channel and RFD TV.
We'll be right back.
Those of us who devote our lives to the animals we love can recall a kind of dawning. A time when something inside us awoke, like a seed planted deep within us and it taken root and begun to grow. That one seed set our course and determined who we would be, how we would live. We believe that purpose is what sets us apart and binds us all together. It's why our family built a company dedicated to supporting the animals we all care for and this lifestyle we share. Stanley Premium Western Forage, grown for the life we love.
Hey Ernie, it's great to have you here with us this morning. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of Better Horses TV. I've got Colt out here with me this morning riding Willow. This is my fiance's horse. I'm riding Che. This mare came from the Purina Animal Nutrition Center. What we're going to be working on this morning, Ernie, is I'm trying to teach Colt how to use his hands in a little different manner to help this mare right here not just roll up in the bridle, but maybe more than anything, lower her head and her neck by breaking at the withers. And I'm going to show him what he's been doing with his hands to lift this mare and help this mare back up. We're going to change it a little bit so this mare can, when she's got some forward, she can roll up in that bridle and lower her neck a little bit so she can find a little bit more fluid forward motion. So Colt, when we back these horses up, I'm constantly telling you to lift your hands, okay? So I'm going to turn my horse sideways here to the camera just so the camera can see. So this concept of us backing our horses up, we lift like this a lot because we want to be able to shift the weight off their withers, lift it up and get them horses to feel like they do this when they back up. Okay, sometimes on certain horses, doing that while you're going forward kind of gets in the way and it gets them balled up where they can't just find some fluid forward motion. This mare you're sitting on, there's times where, hopefully that bee doesn't sting you. Here he comes over here at me. Get out of here. This mare really gets stiff-legged at times, doesn't she? Especially when you go to slow down, like from a lope to a walk. Yeah. Okay? So think of it like this. Instead of lifting your hands this way now going forward, we're going to lower our hands. We're going to spread them out. And I'm going to say, I want you to think about getting your hands down here close to your knee. So I'm going to have a spot right here above my knee that I'm going to bring both my hands to. Okay? So I'm going to have to get my reins far enough apart that I can get my hands right here about above my knee. And if I have to add some rhythm to it, I can. But as I add rhythm with my hands like that, I'm also gonna add some rhythm with my legs, okay? And you see how this mare lowered her head and her neck, like she broke right here to her withers to lower her neck down. So even just sitting here at a standstill, sometimes I'll practice that. And I'm just gonna, so my reins right now are drawn right over my knees, okay? And I'm just gonna add a little rhythm, and I've got some rhythm with my legs. So my legs are doing this, okay? Why don't you go ahead and try that? Just sitting still. If she moves her feet, it's not a big deal. Okay, let go right there, right there. Okay, so the first thing she's gonna wanna do, because she's not really consistent at breaking at the withers and lowering her head. She likes her head about right there, okay? If she goes down at all, you're gonna have to give her some release, or give her a spot where you'll just get quiet and leave her alone. But the first thing she's gonna do is she's probably gonna try to move her feet. And if she does, it's okay, whether she's going forward or backward. You're just trying to be quiet, relaxed. I got some rhythm in my legs. I got some rhythm in my hands. And I'm not moving my wrist like this. It's not in my wrist. It's more in my elbow, it's more in my shoulder. So I've got some bend in my elbow. My hand's kind of doing this. See how that my shoulder's just swinging? So I'm just swinging my shoulders back and forth like this a little bit. Little rhythm here with my legs. As that goes down, we'll release. So we're gonna work on this a bunch at a walk, but I just wanna make sure that you got the idea. There's a big difference between my hands coming here. See where my hands are at right there? So if I leave my right hand right there, and I'm gonna replace it with my left, I'll put my right hand down here on my knee. Look at the gap right there, okay? Now I can be here, or I could be clear down here at this knee, or I could be anywhere in between. Today, you're gonna literally go from this spot to this spot, clear down here by your knee, okay? So let's do this for the camera. I want you to go ahead, I'll get out of the way. I want you to turn that mare sideways so she's facing north. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to back that mare up, just slow and easy, but I want you to lift your hands. So the camera can see that. Okay, good job, good job. We're trying to get this mare to break at the withers and be more relaxed from the withers forward. That looks super good, Colt. Again, you're down by your knees, your hands are down closer to your knee. Great job. There you go. Look at that right there. All right, just circle back around here and park right here next to me. This is something I can come out here and do. I don't have to be trotting and loping my horse to warm them up before I do this. We haven't warmed either one of these horses up at all. We just got on and we just started walking around here slow, playing around with this. This is something I need to do a lot of so I can get the idea of the different spots my hands can be in and what it could help my horse find with their head position, their neck position. That's a big, big change for that mare, isn't it? Just going from a lift to down here, just saying, I want you to think about lowering your head and your neck a little bit more while you find some forward. That's a great job. I hope this is something that can help your viewers. Again, we come out here on these horses, it's gonna vary from horse to horse where our hands are at. So we're just gonna play around with it. This will give you guys kind of a foundation to shoot from. And if you guys would like any information about our clinics, about our horses for sale, about our lessons, you can go to kerrykuhn.com. Thanks again.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these messages.
No matter what discipline of riding you do, training, showing, and everyday stress is hard on your horse's legs. Decra Veterinary Products is a leading lameness company that brought you Osphos. Osphos is a clodronate injection, an intramuscular bisphosphonate to help control the clinical signs of navicular syndrome in horses 4 years and older. Ask your veterinarian if Osphos is right for your horse. Decra Veterinary Products is a proud sponsor of The American.
So I went to several different dealerships I started at Heritage Tractor, and I didn't want to buy a piece of equipment that can only do one job. I wanted versatility to be able to fit in a small space, but also still do big jobs. And so I went with the 2 Series John Deere. I got a 2038R, and I can switch in seconds between any attachment, and I haven't seen anyone else who offers that kind of speed and adaptability. There's not really a day that goes by that I don't start that tractor up.
Those of us who devote our lives to the animals we love can recall a kind of dawning, like a seed planted deep within us and it taken root and begun to grow. It's why our family built a company dedicated to supporting the animals we all care for and this lifestyle we share.
Hey, I'm Martha Josey. It is so important to fit the saddle to the horse and also fit the saddle to the person, because what that saddle can do for you is to help you win. So, Jill, I'm going to get you to talk and tell how important saddle fit is.
All right, so today we're going to start talking about saddle fit, and I wanted to start out with a naked tree. So this is what the tree looks like that's underneath all this pretty leather and decor on a saddle. But this is what you're fitting to the horse. This is what you're riding in. You sit here, this sits on the horse, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I wanted to go over a few key things real quick so you can make sure you're speaking the right lingo when you're talking to your saddle store or your trainer, or you're trying to figure out your saddle fit for yourself. This is the gullet. These are the bars. This is the cantle, and this is the swell, and this is the horn. What we're fitting when we fit the saddle to the horse is the bar and the gullet. Now, you don't all have access to trees to try on your horse, so we're going to do the same thing with the saddle so you can see it as plain as this, because this is a little bit of a false security because you're going to add leather and fleece and all of that to the bottom of the saddle, which will change the fit a little bit. This is meant to give you a good idea. You know, if this on him was digging in right here, you'd know this is too tight, because once you add everything else, it's going to make it even tighter. And when I fit a horse with a saddle, I like to always put it up high on his neck for a minute. Start it up here, and then watch what I do, and you'll see where the saddle's going to ride on him. So I moved it easily to right here, and now it's not going any further, which means that's where it's going to ride. I don't care how tight you put the breast collar or how tight you put the cinch, it's going to go to this spot. Some horses, it might run further back, which tells me it would be too wide for him if it went way further back. Then I always look here. This rigging is right where it should be. It's not sitting back here. I see this a lot. You'll see where they put their saddle on, and the rigging, how the saddle is rigged. This is the rigging. It's sitting right here naturally on that horse's back, which that tells you is way too far back. So on him, it's in the correct spot. From there, I step back and I look and I say, yeah, looks like it's sitting pretty good. It's down on both sides on him. It's not sitting up. It's not tipping forward. It's sitting pretty level on both sides of the horse like a good fitting hat. Doesn't look like he's a dad wearing his little kid's hat where it's sitting way off the top of him. It looks comfortable on his back. I always do saddle fit without a pad. Then from there, I start putting my hand up in here. And what I'm feeling for is horses have dips and valleys in their backs. They have muscle structure up here under these conchos, that's their shoulder blade. I want to make sure that this isn't pinching him here and gapping here where you have bridging. So I put my hand under here. It should be snug and constant all the way through the bar of the saddle. So if you want to grab that. You want constant pressure. Stick it, hold it like that. Under here, and then I'm feeling all the way down here out the back. You want that to be the same pressure. It can be a little bit tighter on the front shoulder because you got that bone under there, but I don't want it uncomfortable. I don't want to feel like, yikes. So you should have constant pressure. Then I'll step right here, feel under there, it's still the same pressure all the way through, and all the way out the back concho. The conchos are the beginning of your tree and the end of the tree. So the concho spot on that go into the tree, they're drilled into the tree, is right here and right here. So when you see these conchos, you want to do the contact from there all the way throughout the back. That's where it ends. I have a lot of people say, well, this is kind of kicking up in the back here a little bit. Well, for one, it's a brand new saddle, so the fleece is really poofy. As you ride this, it'll break down. Also, the leather is new, so it's a little stiff. It needs to be broke in. So I don't worry about that as long as the bars are making contact. Our bars, we flare at the end, so they flare up a little bit, so it's more comfortable on the horse's back. If they were to go straight, when you get in a barrel turn, those hips are going to be hitting on the end of that. A couple other things you can do to test is you can come up here and push on this stirrup. That saddle's sitting up there really nice. Like, if it was too round for him or too wide for him, if I did that, it'd slide right off his back. Now, there are some conformations on horses that's going to happen anyways because they're real round, barrel-y, maybe a little overfed, but not cutter. So you have a really nice sitting on both sides of that horse. Let's talk about how to rig this saddle. This saddle has a three-way rigging on it. So you can either rig it from back here. So if this saddle naturally sat on him right there, you'd put it here. You can also run it right here if the saddle wants to run back a little bit on him. Some horses are a little narrower in the back end, so you want to have it more right here. Or you can run it, we make it real easy, you just loop it like that. This horse, he could easily go right here, but I like doing the V, so you can do it like this. We don't have a cinch, so we're just showing you. And so that gives you a really nice pull down on that here. And you can see how that pulls that saddle really nice down into that horse comfortably. It's not pulling all the weight forward. It's not pulling it all the way from the back. It's a nice center. Whatever you do here, make sure you do it on the other side of the horse. I see a lot of people, they'll have in the back rigging on that side and they'll do a V on this side or a front rigging on this side. It'll make your saddle feel crooked, and your horse will want to lope away from that because it's sitting crooked on him, and it'll soar up this side of the horse.
Thank you so much, Jill and Kara, because saddle fit for the horse and for the rider is so important. And thank you, Better Horses TV, and also to the Cowboy Channel and to RFD TV. You're great.
Hey, cowboys and cowgirls, don't go anywhere. We have more Better Horses coming your way. When you're a barrel racer, there are so many things that can bother a horse. Just eliminating the back issues is a huge advantage. I feel like using a CSI saddle pad has given me an advantage over other girls because I know that my horse is feeling good, that saddle's not bothering him. If you're looking for a new saddle pad, invest in a CSI. It's worth the investment.
It's time to go with United Mosquito and Fly Control's premier fly system for fly control in your barn, providing relief for horses from the stress of fighting flies, and also makes the barn more pleasant for everyone in the barn. Easy, effective, and safe. With United Mosquito and Fly Control, we provide a full service. You as the barn owner don't have to do anything. We go everywhere and take care of everything with our friendly fast service. Call today at 913-558-3814 or email Paul at unitedmosquito.com.
What do you get when you bring together one of the biggest names in veterinary medicine with one of the most caring and committed teams of horse health experts in the industry? You get a vaccine portfolio known for its quality and safety, a pharmaceutical line you can rely on to help manage pain and support performance. You get the products, programs, and people of Merck Animal Health.
Hey everybody, thanks for having us on Better Horses TV today. And today what I'm going to talk about is your horse's thought process of using the thinking side of their brain or the reacting side. Now, you know, some of you have heard me talk about this before in our podcast. When I go in the pen to catch a colt in the morning, and you know, you see it a lot more in colts rather than older horses, but you know, they're on the verge of being on the fence of using the reacting side, thinking side, reacting side, thinking side. And
And you know, it's been my experience over the years that unless I have that horse using the thinking side of their brain, I might be able to control them somewhat, but I don't really know that they're trainable. Well, I know they're not trainable at that point. And, you know, so when I go in there, it's so important at the start of your day that at the earliest point possible, you want to stimulate that thinking side of that horse's brain, okay? So even when I go in the pen in the morning, if that colt moves away from me, I might add a little pressure. I might apply a little pressure to that hind quarter so that as soon as that colt turns and puts both eyes on me, I'm going to release. And help that horse understand right off the bat that the biggest release is going to be when they've got both eyes on me. Now say, and I'm going to use Whit here for a demonstration, but say after I halter this colt, that colt is still real tight, and it doesn't have to be a colt, but most of them are. The colt is real tight, you know, real standoffish, not very relaxed. You know, before I ever even step out of the stall, I may just move that horse a step or two each direction and ask him to move off a time or two, just like this. When they come back to me, release, reward them. At the very least, before you start doing anything, ask yourself, is my horse using the thinking side of his brain or the reacting side? And if the answer is he's being somewhat reactive, go do something simple to stimulate the thinking side of his brain first, and then go back to doing what you were doing, okay? Very, very, very important in training a horse, okay? So that's our tip for the week. Thanks again to Better Horses for having us on. You can follow us on Phil Haugen Horsemanship, philhaugenhorsemanship.com, Facebook and Instagram at Phil Haugen Horsemanship. We appreciate you having us on. Have a great week, and God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, welcome to Hearty Grub with Better Horses TV. I tell you what, Mark, it's been a while. It's good to be back together.
Yeah, it is. We're going to have a ball tonight.
So tell us a little bit. We're going to feature what?
We're going to feature rice pilaf. It's going to be a different way of making than I usually do. It's a little bit of an experiment, but I've played with it enough. I think it'll turn out fine. It started cooking
steak and
right
rice
now.
Okay.
So we season the steaks up. I lightly cover them with a little oil so my steak seasoning sticks to it, and then try to season them 15 or 20 minutes before I grill them. We just put a light grill on them, pull them off, and let them rest. Here we're parboiling the lobster. If you parboil them just a little bit before you grill them, the meat comes loose from the shell a lot easier. So you got to pull them out of the hot water, put them in an ice bath so they'll quit cooking. Then put them on the grill, face down. We split the shells open, face down to get a good grill mark on the bottom. Flip them over. Now when you go to adding the butter to them with the herbs and stuff in them, and it gets you see the butter kind of gets on fire there, but that's where you get the butter down inside. Hot olive oil. Now we're going to toast the rice. So we're going to put it in there. I got it on high heat, so we're going to toast it until it gets nice and chocolatey brown. And the other weird thing I'm going to do, I got this orzo, little pellets of pasta. So when the rice gets about toasted, we're going to add them in there to it. Then when they get about toasted, I've got onions and mushrooms we're going to put in there and saute them a little bit. I made my own beef broth to go in here to cook the rice in. Now that's all toasted up, I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients, and then we're going to add the beef broth I made. We seasoned the beef broth up good. Poured it back in the rice, put a lid on it, set it on the stove, and don't mess with it until it's done.
Great to have you on the Hearty Grub.
It's a lot of
channel where if you're looking for healthy, change the channel.
Hey, Jim Evans ate 2 pounds of butter tonight, so it's all right. We're healthy.
You won't have anybody on your popcorn for we don't know how long. But folks, thanks for tuning in to Better Horses TV. The Hearty grub market is really good, and I just suggest all of you, make sure you hug your kids, your grandkids, and tell them you love them.
And keep your powder dry.
Closed captioning has been brought to you by Lina Weaver
and Flat Tail Ranch.
Those of us who devote our lives to the animals we love can recall a kind of dawning. A time when something inside us awoke, like a seed planted deep within us, and it had taken root and begun to grow. And from that moment on, the path ahead was clear. That one seed set our course and determined who we would be, how we would live, forever connected to the land. We found purpose in these remarkable creatures that depend on us. At Stanley Premium Western Forage, we believe that purpose is what sets us apart and binds us all together. It's why our family built a company dedicated to supporting, enriching, nourishing the animals we all care for and this lifestyle we share. Stanley Premium Western Forage, grown for the life we love.
Hey, thank you for watching Better Horses. And if you've missed any of our shows, check us out at betterhorses.com, where you can see all our episodes.
You can also follow us on Facebook or listen to any of our podcasts right from your mobile device.
And don't forget our newspaper, coming out 5 times a year.
You're gonna love it.